I'm Reeti. I'm a freshman from New Jersey, and some of my favorite interests in STEM would be computer science, math, biology, and I would say that I've always loved STEM because I've sort of grown up with like role models in STEM. You know, my older brother was really passionate about STEM, and I also used to participate in like this robotics program called First Lego League, and that sort of like really like sparked my journey. Like, after that, I started getting involved in more things, like I started doing competitions and other programs, and that's really how I got interested in STEM.
What do you think is the most interesting or fascinating area of STEM development right now? And tell us a little bit about why you like it.
Um, okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I have a lot of interest in STEM, I'm very fickle about that. But I would say that I'm really interested in computational bio, and like computational bio and bioinformatics is like a super hot topic in STEM right now because like computer science and like computer tools can be integrated into almost any field. And like you can, and especially in bio and med and like healthcare, there's like so many problems where you have a lot of data and then you have to like find patterns in those data. And like computer science is like an amazing way to sort of solve many challenges, so like cancer or like other challenges, we can use the tools of computer science to solve those. And that's definitely one of my like I'm definitely aspiring to go into computational bio. Like that's definitely one of my biggest interests right now. So I like it because I like programming and I also like bio, so combine the two and you get computational bio.
Would you say that taking like biology classes through your school or like CS classes has like really helped you develop that passion?
Yeah, definitely. So like by studying bio in high school, that has sort of given me a deeper understanding of like the problems, that's sort of given me more context behind what you're actually programming. And like I've also like definitely doing not really school classes, but like doing competitive programming in general for me has sort of given me more like a problem solving mindset. And like that's definitely made me more better at programming. And I can like, think sort of as a programmer to solve problems.
That's really, really cool. So, as we kind of look back at the women who paved the way in STEM before us, can you share a woman in history who's really inspired you and tell us a little bit about her?
Okay, so again, it's a little difficult to choose, but I would definitely say like Jennifer Doudna. So Jennifer Doudna is actually she has known for her work in CRISPR-Cas9. So CRISPR-Cas9 is a tool that can be applied to many different issues, not only cancer, but like many different medical issues. And she also has worked in many different biochemical organizations, working to use the tools of computer science again and apply them to many healthcare issues and problems. Um, and I feel like one of the main reasons why I'm inspired by her is because she's in the same field as me. And I'm really like, inspired by all the work she's doing. And like one day I want to like be able to do something significant just like she is. And like she won a Nobel Prize. I'm not really thinking about a Nobel Prize. Like, I just really want to like be able to help like someone who's suffering from a disease by using computer science skills. And that's why she's so inspiring for me.
Well, I personally think that you can win a Nobel Prize, so keep
I
it up.
don't know. I hope so, but
So, how do you think the representation of women in STEM fields has changed over the course of history, and what do you think has been driving those changes?
so definitely like over just the past like decade, so many new like opportunities, programs have sprung up for girls and even any like child who has maybe not had exposure to STEM. There are just so many opportunities now. What's great is that because there's more role models really emerging as history goes by, that's inspiring even more girls and women to step up and like really like try STEM and like, give it their all. So definitely it has improved, although there is a lot of work to be done because we haven't really there's unfortunately there we aren't really the numbers aren't really where we want them to be. So there is still some work to be done, but it's really impressive how much progress has been made in gender and equity in this field.
Yeah. So, like you said, there's been a lot of progress that we've made. But obviously things aren't obviously completely
Yeah.
perfect. Can you share a time in which you felt really impressed by an advancement in gender equity around you, or alternatively, a time when maybe you felt discriminated against in your field?
Well, yeah, definitely. So, like I said, there's just so many organizations working towards this, like NGCP, If Then She Can, Million Girls Moonshot, Girls Who Code. There are just so many organizations right now, and they're like reaching all sorts of demographics, all sorts of girls who maybe have not previously had exposure to coding or STEM. And I think it's really impressive because they're really approachable and they really have made a difference. If you look at the numbers, they have made a difference. Um, as for discrimination that I faced, I would definitely say I am lucky. I'm very fortunate to have supportive friends, supportive peers, and I have many female friends who are also interested in STEM. So I'm definitely lucky to have that. But there is always going to be, you sometimes, let's say you're in a group of like, it's mostly male, there aren't any other females. Sometimes you feel like, you have to keep proving yourself. Like sometimes you feel as though other people won't really trust that you know what you're doing because you're female. Like it's just an automatic assumption. And sometimes you feel like you have to keep justifying that you really do care, that you really are a valuable team member.
What do you think that we can take away from like the journeys of women that came before us and the women that have been facing these struggles for like throughout history? What lessons do you think that we can learn from them and apply to the STEM that we do today?
Yeah, so those women have obviously went through those struggles even more so because just 20 years ago there were not as many opportunities. Women in STEM was not as accepted. So, they obviously had to be very brave. They were some of the first in their field. They had to, there weren't any other women to support them, and they had to step up because they believed in themselves. They knew they had talents. So they had to step up and really sort of show the world what they had. They had to really prove themselves by doing remarkable things. So, Katherine Johnson, Grace Hopper, all those people. So the biggest thing we can learn from them is like they just they're brave. They were the first. And their perseverance really, because for example, Katherine Johnson, at first they didn't really believe in her. They're like, oh, she's just a woman. We can't really trust that she's going to lead one of the biggest expeditions in space of all time. You know, so it's those sorts of things. They have to keep trying, and even if they don't succeed at first, even if they don't come up with a breakthrough on their first try, they have to keep trying, and eventually they succeed and become superstars.
Yeah, definitely. So, what would you say that your involvement in organizations like the NGCP or the YB, how would you say that your involvement in those organizations has changed your perspective on gender equity in STEM?
So I'm very thrilled to be in NGCP. Like all the people I've met, like you, Sandra, all these amazing people. Like you've all done so much, and it really gives me hope because there are girls who are really passionate. It's like there are more, even though it may not look out on the outside that there are many girls who are really passionate about STEM. There are many girls, and these girls are helping spread their love of STEM to other girls, which is very positive. And I think it's also enlightening for me to see maybe what other girls are going through, what the experiences other girls may be having in terms of like discrimination or challenges. How in NGCP, we sort of go over our struggles or highlights of the day, that sort of thing. It's really enlightening, I feel, to see what other girls are doing or what they're facing. And it's also very interesting to see like how diverse different interests are in STEM and how there's really like there's a space for everyone in STEM, no matter what you're interested in, you can sort of find your space and make your name in STEM.
Yeah. So, the last question that I have for you today is that if you were talking to another young woman who was interested in pursuing a career in STEM, but wasn't sure where to start or how to overcome potential obstacles, what advice would you give to her?
Okay, so it's definitely true that STEM can be super challenging at time. Even I get, demotivated, if something's not working or if I didn't get something I want, like, it can be very demotivating. You might feel like you're not talented at STEM, something like that. And for someone who's like maybe feel like for the first time, it can be like, they might just quit STEM altogether. But you have to remember that perseverance, just like all the women in history have, you have to persevere and that's how STEM works because that's the nature of STEM really. You have to keep trying, have an open mind. Like when you're trying to solve a problem, you can't just try one approach, you have to keep trying. And that's sort of a STEM mindset. So for girls, I definitely recommend just be brave, keep trying. And one of the most important things you can really have as a woman in STEM is a community. Like, I cannot stress the importance of community enough. Like, just having other girls that also love STEM, having peers and mentors who support you, that's just so helpful. And like, no one's STEM journey is taken alone. Like, nobody's going to just do everything themselves. Everyone has like a mentor or teacher who gives them advice and when they're having trouble in STEM. And that's why having community is so important, just having other girls to share your experiences with, support, lean on. That's why we're all here for each other.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Reeti, for this interview.
Thank you so much for having me.